Guys, welcome to the Popko Project Podcast, a platform for the discovery and discussion of arts and entertainment. Welcome to the show. Chained
Hey,
Saint, what's going on?
what's up? I'm Ethan. I play guitar.
Nice.
I'm
I'm
Cameron.
Sebastian. Oh
Oh,
shit, my bad. I'm Sebastian. I play bass.
I'm Cameron. I play drums.
Nice. And you guys are, I, it feels weird. You're very young. What, 17, 18 years old?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
youngins.
I'm over twice your age. So it's hopefully I won't curse too much.
No, don't worry about it.
It doesn't matter. It's all good.
Yeah.
Ethan, where are you at right now?
I'm in Costa Rica, specifically Tamarindo.
Are you,
Got the ocean behind me. Yeah.
why are you even why have you even entertained doing this podcast tonight? What are you doing?
I mean, I just love it. I like doing these things. I like talking about, I love to talk about the band and how it's going. So this is kind of just like got the waves in one ear, questions in the other. It's great.
I think you're nuts. You're talking to a guy from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And you're in Costa Rica right now. Jesus. Wow. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, of course.
Your PR team says you guys are teen metal prodigies.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, right. It sounds pretty good.
Sounds
And I
cool.
mean,
Yeah.
you're also backed by Alice in Chains and Mastodon. So it's like not like, it's a self-proclaimed thing. I mean, you guys have some serious talent that also thinks that you guys have like what it takes to go to the next level. So that's wild.
Yeah. I'm very grateful.
What's that like being your age? And now you've worked with William from Alice in Chains, right? He produced the album.
Yeah, he produced it, and we were in West End Sounds with where Mastodon's at.
Okay, so what's that like being, like I said, 17, 18 years old and kind of being around that kind of star power?
Well, for me, I start my senior year in about a week, less than a week. Like, I'm still pretty young. I'm the youngest here. So, but when we were recording, I was, it was a year ago, I was still a year younger. I was only 16, and it makes me feel like I'm moving a lot faster than I should be at my age, but I do appreciate, everything around me, and I do enjoy that I'm not being held back just because of my age, that I could really go full throttle, even though I'm still this young.
Has your age hindered you at all? Like, I mean, I feel like the answer is no, but like, how could it not? Like, right?
Well, it hasn't really hindered me. Maybe it's given me less credibility to people for certain things, especially when we first started. Because when we first started, I was like barely 15, and we wrote all these songs, and I was like 15, turning 16, and we went into the studio when I was 16. So like now, people are just like, "Oh yeah, you're a senior. You're gonna be an adult soon." So it's a lot more credible. But before it was, some people were just like, "You're just a kid. Like, just keep it in the garage."
Yeah. And how did this all happen? I mean, I've listened to I was able to listen to some of the album. Uh Animosity, I believe, is out streaming right now. The album's due out August 23rd, I believe. But I mean, how did this all start? I mean, a lot of kids, like you said, they're in a garage. They're playing, they're begging bars to let them in to play shows with their parents in the crowd just so they can get into the place. How have you gotten to the level where you are now at this age? How does this all come together?
Well, we definitely have our own story on how we, came about with each other. We originally were kind of just you know, just jamming covers and playing Metallica songs in my garage and kind of just having fun through that. Some of us met through School of Rock because that's kind of how I learned some stuff when I was a lot younger. I met Cam at school, but we kind of just kept playing together, jamming songs. And after a while of covers and covers, we're like, we're going to write some music. And at first it was a little iffy. You know, it wasn't as where it is now, but we just kept going and, you know, trying to find our sound and find out what Chain Saint is. And we kept going and kept going. And before we knew it, we had originally, I think, about 11 songs. We cut 3 in the studio for the final cut of the record. But, you know, now we've got what we got. And I think we're really happy with it and where everything is, pretty happy.
Well, I mean, as far as like hooking up with you know, Alice in Chains and things like that, like how did that all come about? Like, I mean,
Oh, well, so one thing with William is so him and my dad have actually been really good friends for a long time, but kind of on and off. And you know, one day we're playing in the garage, and he's like, you guys are sounding really good. Like I've brought different projects and bands when I was younger before this to the garage to play, but this time he was like, this is really good. Like I'm gonna try and connect with William again just to see what he thinks, if it's even something good or if he's just being a super supportive dad. And you know, he sent it just clips of us in the garage. He's like, you know, like the music's, you know, the kids are with the music, you know, it's carrying on and kind of just stuff like that. And you know, luckily William loved it. He was actually, you know, he really liked it, and he was, you know, telling us we should go record a real demo in some studio. And we went to a little studio and recorded 3 songs, and it was kind of like a little demo. And he was like, I'm interested, and I like what I'm hearing. I want you guys to keep doing what you're doing. And you know, we wrote a record, we wrote the rest of the music, and the relationship kept building. And before we knew it, we were going into West End and recording the record. And now it's kind of just like a mentor with us.
that's awesome. I mean, what a this is gonna sound terrible, but like sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're both. Like, you're both.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right, but like, you know what I'm saying. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, there's a saying, and I should know this because I think I try and say it probably 1 out of 10 podcasts that, but just about like, um, you know, preparation, and just being ready for when that opportunity comes, right? And here it is for you guys.
Yeah. And we were definitely prepared. We were very lucky that, you know, this opportunity with him came about. And, you know, it kind of does take both things, the luck and the skill. And we're lucky that we got that other side, and that we were prepared and had the skill at the right time. You know, it could have happened a different way where we kind of weren't ready, and this opportunity came about, and we would have been like, no, we need like 6 months. Let us get prepared and get tight, and there it is, and it's gone. So we're right at the perfect time, perfect opportunity, and it all worked out, you know, perfectly for us.
And it's like you must be prodigies because, you know, it takes a lot of people a lot of time to be ready for that opportunity. And you guys are so young. Like, I mean, has music always come kind of naturally to all of you, or
Yeah, I mean, I'll let the other guys answer. I've been talking a lot, but I feel like it's very, like for us, it's very collaborative. You know, I try my best to bring what I have and show it to them, and, you know, see what they think, what they do, what they want to add or get rid of, stuff like that.
Cameron,
Yes.
you go first. Chime in
All
here.
right. Yeah. Yeah, kind of what Ethan said. Honestly, I think all of our writing literally comes out of the garage. We've wrote a couple of songs like in this room before, but like everything that we've written mostly just comes from jamming in the garage and just kind of settling out ideas together.
And Sebastian, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say all of it comes very natural, like our riffs and whatever. So it's usually jamming. We start maybe with one singular riff, or maybe Cam has like a drum intro, something like that, and we just keep jamming and building off of it, and it all comes very natural. We're not really like stressing over writing music or anything. Like we're always writing constantly. It just comes very natural to us, very collaborative and very fun.
That's awesome. Now, is it just you three, or are we missing somebody?
Yeah, we're missing Sean, our vocalist, but he couldn't make it this
Okay,
time.
cool. How does Sean fit in all this?
Oh, well, Sean, I mean, Sean's definitely the last piece of the puzzle. Um, he has been a lot more collaborative in our recent writing endeavors, kind of a great fourth voice to add to the collaborative work that we try to make. And I mean, I think I've been friends with him for so long, and jamming music before I was even in any band. It was just me and him jamming in his garage. So we have that connection, and I feel like he's starting to bring that connection to the other guys, and he's definitely become that missing link that we had for a little bit.
Yeah. And you said Metallica before, which I think is awesome because I hear Metallica in some of these songs. I mean, what bands and what artists have kind of have you looked up to, and do you pull inspiration from outside of maybe Metallica?
I'll let us all answer our own, but for me, I mean, we wrote these songs a long time ago. I'd say a year ago. So our inspirations were very more thrash oriented. So for me, it was my big three was kind of just like Sepultura. I was in a big death kick for a while. It didn't really go into the writing as much, but stuff like that. Obviously, things like the big four. I was always a big Slayer guy, Anthrax guy. Sepultura was probably the most driving factor for me during all that writing. That was kind of a common theme among the three of us, big Sepultura guys.
Yeah, for me, definitely Sepultura was definitely like the main band. It was because like around that time we all started listening to them. So that's why we started pulling like, a lot of influence from them. But as Ethan said, I was also into death at the time. There wasn't too much, like he said, in the writing, but death was a big one for me. And I would say also Megadeth at the time was also pretty big for us. Not for all of us, but for some of us, yeah.
Yeah.
I say for me, honestly, what they said, Sepultura, we kind of got into Sepultura around like the same exact time because we're all just like sharing music, what we like. I think we were really into like Sepultura around that time. I think Anthrax is definitely one of them. Like Sebi said, Megadeth, big fan of Megadeth. Um, honestly, for me, drumming wise, honestly, a lot comes from the Pennywise drummer. But yeah.
Yeah, and if I could add, it definitely we kind of have a shared brain when it comes to music. Like we were always getting into the same bands at the same time, and like we'd show each other something in the car, and we're like, dude, I was just like listening to this song or this band. I feel like it definitely helped, like the creative process flow so much easier because we were all kind of just sharing the same mind space and the same influences. So like I'd have a riff, and Cam would know exactly what I was thinking to do it before I even said it. And Sebi, same thing, and it just worked out perfectly.
That's cool. I mean, I talked to a lot of bands, and a lot of times artists within the band, like there's like, oh, this guy is a big punk fan, and this guy's a metal fan. This guy's a big fan of classical and all that kind of stuff. And what they perform together as a band is like different than all of those things combined. But they pull inspiration from all those different genres. So it's kind of interesting that you guys are all kind of in the same like, metal uh arena.
Yeah. And what's great is that we all love all types of music. And we kind of just like we always say, we share the same brain because even the other types of genres of music that we love, we get into at the same time or other stuff like that. And it's for us, we're just like one collective brain together, and it's great.
Yeah. Talk about the lead single, Animosity. It's a great song. There's a music video for that as well. So talk a little bit about that song in particular and kind of how maybe that was formed or written and all that kind of fun stuff.
I mean, I'll leave this one off. It's definitely one of the harder hitting songs. that we wrote. It is the only song on the record that's actually tuned a half step down compared to all the whole record's in E standard except for that song with his E flat. And it was kind of, writing that song was definitely a lot of fun. And I think it was the best song we could have chose as the first release, and it just hits hard and, tells everyone like, this is who we are. This is Chain Saint. We got all the parts that we, wanted to show. We can be fast. We could be heavy. We could have a nice thrashy bridge, could have some solo work, and it kind of encompassed the band, and the music. I feel like the best way for the first release for the world ever.
Cam, Sebastian, what do you guys think about the song? Cam, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, it's kind of like
real quick. I do appreciate you guys like taking the time, because we're all going to kind of talk over one another by accident. So I appreciate you guys kind of like hesitating. But Cam, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the heavy hitter songs on the album. So I think it was a great choice to first release that song out of the album. But yeah, there's some really cool parts in that song. It's probably my favorite solo that Ethan does in the whole album. So that speaks how good the solo is, in my opinion. But yeah, there's some really good thrashy parts. There's some like cool time changes in there, and then it comes back around to the end, kind of to the hard hitting groove from the beginning, and it's just it's a very good song. I think it was a great choice as a first single.
For sure, I agree. I mean, I think it is. I mean, I haven't had a chance. I like to listen to like albums through like 2-3 times. I've only had a chance to listen to it like once or twice. I think that's like the highlight of the album.
Yeah.
As of right now. I mean, I'm sure once I dig into it more, I'll find different things and different songs. They have like a different special place and a spot on the album. But yeah, this is a great song.
Yep.
Sebastian, what are your thoughts on this song Animosity?
I would honestly like say the same thing about instrumentally, like agree with them, but I would also say one main reason that we chose the song is also like the catchiness of the song. We thought that when that chorus, when we recorded it, we heard it in the studio, we were like, wow, that's pretty catchy. So that was like a reason we were like, this could be a lead single. So I think that's like honestly, because all the other songs, we also have like other songs that we love the instrumentals too, but I think this one was very catchy. So I think that was like the main reason we decided to make it the lead single.
When you guys are writing, are you kind of thinking about, how an audience would kind of react to this music, or are you at this time just kind of writing it for yourself and you don't give a shit?
We kind of just write it, the way we know that people are going to react. I mean, the way I think I know people are going to react to it is when I see Sebi going crazy on the song, headbanging and stuff. Because you just know when he's loving it, everyone's going to love it, because like that just means it's hidden. So when I see that happening, I know it's working. And just in general, when we're all feeling it, like we can kind of tell when a part is like the right part, or when it's just all flows perfect. Regarding the song Animosity, writing it was very fluid. We originally kind of just had that intro riff, and we're just building off of it part by part. And we kind of got all the way to like the bridge the first time we sat down to write the song, because it was just very fluid. Just riff after riff came out, and it was working. There wasn't really anything that we were like, let's switch this. I'm not messing with this, or let's move it, make it longer. It was kind of just, we kind of just almost like it was a jam, like a blues jam. You just keep going. We just kept going, and we loved it. And we did take some time to kind of stop and like, let's maybe make this many times as long, and we'll move this part here. And we did do things with the solo where it was originally twice as long, and there was a different part after it, which we switched the part. And those were really the only things that we actually had to put our mind to, but the rest was just so fluid. And that's a theme that carries along the whole record, which will be soon to be seen. But it's just all very fluid.
Yeah. And what about the video for it? Talk about the,
Um,
creating that and kind of, getting that produced and kind of, did you guys have a vision as part of, is this your first one, your first video, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you like leave it up to the producer or the guys that were directing it or girls that were directing it, or did you kind of have like a say in how that kind of went?
So it was kind of both. It was, we wanted to match the way we thought the song was going to be as our first release. Like we said, kind of a heavy hitter opener to the world, and kind of have a clean slate. This is us. It's just like it's a heavy hitting song. It's catchy, and we figured the best way to go about it and to start off clean would be kind of a performance video. And the other logistics in it, like the location and how we were going to film it, who was where, and stuff like that, was up to the producer and the director. And he did a great job. We love the guy. He's done some other stuff for us, and yeah, he did a great job with things like the red lighting and the close-up stuff, which we all had a say in, but he really knows us, and he knew what we wanted, deep down. And we kind of trusted him with that, and it all worked out perfectly, in my opinion.
Cool. Now the album's due out August 23rd, which I mean today is August 6th, so not far from now. Um, I would imagine there's probably not going to be another, or maybe there is another release as far as a single goes before the album drop, or
Yeah, that's one thing I'm not particularly too sure, because I've heard that we plan on it and then we don't know if it's the right decision. And if anything, it'd be probably next week.
okay.
But there's a chance that we might just wait for the record to drop and kind of just let it all go out at once.
And who do you consult for that kind of stuff? I mean, being young guys in the game, I'm sure you're probably leaning on people in the industry who kind of have, some knowledge in the space. Like, how does that look for you guys?
Well, for us, we try to keep it as close tied as possible. We're very, I guess you could call it family style type of, like, it's like a mom and pop record store, but for us, it's kind of just very close. We started a record label to avoid any type of things where it's, with big labels, and we figured let's just do it ourselves with the help of, our family and people like that, very close. Thankfully we had mentorship from William, giving us a lot of influence in some of those things and which directions we should go, just to skip the negative parts. Instead of learning it for ourselves, we might as well just skip the negative parts and do it the right way. And for things like that, it's been very nice to have it very close. Especially for me, I get to work with my dad, which is one of the things in life I just think is great, that I get to, share this business and success in the future with my dad and my family. And everyone's, family kind of helps in their own way here. And we try to keep it very close. And I think it works. I think it's totally, a lot easier way to manage it for us being so young, because we don't have that experience like a lot of older musicians who have learned through trial and error. So for us, it's nice to have people that we can immediately trust be a part of the team. And I think I wouldn't have chose a better team. And to me, it just works.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times they probably learn the hard way, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good that you guys are open to, like, young people. It's always they always say, "Okay, old man," like, yeah, whatever. Like, we know what we're doing. We know how it is. So it's cool that you're like really, leaning into the fact that you have these people around you to, bounce ideas off of, or like kind of like learn from maybe their mistakes, or just, things that they've had to, gone through. And it's cool that you're open to that.
Yeah. And it's great, that the people that we're trying to keep close actually, they're not kind of just where we're at, where we don't know. Like, they also learned that through trial and error. So like it's great that I'm not just leaning off someone like my dad just because he's my dad, but it's because I know he has experience, and it makes it a lot more comfortable for decisions, you know, and to know that he's done things like, I don't know if you know the name Space Hog,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, so he was partially producing that record, and he'd sneak him into the studio at like 3 in the morning to get I think it was the debut record. I think it was just labeled In the Meantime. And yeah, he was a part of that. He was a part of all of William's other things, kind of just behind the scenes, and he saw it all happen. And you know, he knows the do's and don'ts. So it makes it a lot more comfortable to go to someone like him. And it helps, and it's great. And I think, you know, it's a lot more comfortable for all of us. You know, we just go to my house to practice, and if we have any questions, he's right there, and he loves to answer and help us out.
So is your dad a producer?
He's not a producer. He used to do a lot of music things. When he was younger, you know, he used to work, like I said, with Space Hog. He used to work in a studio, and he would kind of just, you know, be around there learning everything. And he became, like I said, he was friends with William, you know, early 90s when they were a lot younger. And William was in other projects, and you know, things like Comes with the Fall, and I think it was something with Brent Hines. All those other projects, my dad was very like he was very in the know of what was going on and kind of how it all worked. So it's great because if I ever have any questions about some things, and he's always open to learning more, that we kind of are doing it together.
That's awesome. How about you other guys? Are your families music oriented, or how'd you guys get into it?
Yeah, I think my dad's honestly shown me like everything. So everything that I listen to is from him. I mean, I've come across like newer bands like in the past like 2 years that I really like. He's not a big fan of like death metal. I've been getting more into like kind of like hardcore kind of beat down death metal recently, but that's pretty awesome. But everything comes from my dad and my mom.
Are
Yeah.
you guys angry or what?
No, I just think there's not a lot to do down here. Well, there is, but I don't know.
You're in Florida, right?
Yeah, we are in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Except for Ethan, living it up in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Yeah. I only got another 2 days here and back to Florida.
I gotta get you off this, man. We'll wrap things up soon.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. I feel honored that you even took the time to entertain this.
Of course. Of course.
Sebastian, what about you and your family? Have you come from a music background? Like, you know, have they like kind of, you know, encouraged you to play? Have they encouraged you to get into music, or did you kind of find it by, you know, friends or, you know, things like that?
Yeah, so when I was like a kid, well, my uncle is a drummer. He doesn't really play drums anymore, but he used to have a drum set, and like when I would go visit, because he used to stay with my grandparents. So when I would visit grandparents, like I was like a little kid, so I would just like fool around on the drum set, or sometimes like they would have a guitar or something. But it was, you know, I don't really remember much of it. There's like pictures of me, but I would say my dad, he kind of introduced me to like bands like Kiss and like Guns N' Roses. He didn't really listen to them that much, but he was just like sometimes put them on the radio if he was feeling them. And I guess that kind of opened me up. But honestly, I would say everything else is kind of from myself. Just like discovering music on my own, whether it's like through media, like I don't know, video games, or sometimes I'm a wrestling fan, so sometimes like the entrance music is
Yeah.
also a big part. So I'd say, yeah, that's kind of like my introduction. But my parents, though, they're very supportive of me. My mom, I told her when I wanted a guitar, and she trusted me. She was like, all right, but you better like learn this, because I was trying out other stuff like being soccer, basketball, and I just was like, it's not for me. But finally, I found something that was for me. So yeah,
That's cool.
they supported me in that way.
That's important, right? Like, I always talk about my mom. My mom wanted me to play the banjo when I was a kid, and like I was in sports, and like I feel like if she would have like presented it a different way, like maybe like guitar, I would have been like maybe like more into that, but like she's like banjo. And I'm like, that sounds like I should be sitting on a porch with a piece of like a wheatgrass in my mouth. Like not okay. Like I'm cool. Like let me go play baseball and basketball. But
Right.
to what you're saying, like I like with my son, like and you know when my daughter gets to the age where she can, but like I'm like do everything, like and then kind of figure out what you like and what you don't like, and I'll support you with that. You know whatever you do.
Of course, yeah. It's very important.
So what's it like um being in high school um and having friends who know that like you're in this band who write these great songs who you know work with you know, people or have support from members of Alice in Chains and Mastodon. Like, what is that? Is it has do people get that? Like, is it a thing? Is it cool? Like, what's it? What's that like?
Well, I mean, as of right now, I'm the only one in high school now. You know, the other guy, like Sebastian, just graduated, so I'm the only one left, and I mean, I'll be out of there in a year. But as of last year, you know, it was very cool because a lot of these people that are, you know, a lot of people around me are into the same music, so they do find it like a very cool thing, and you know, a very nice, a very like, very cool that there's people like that surrounded around me, and like that we have this music, and that they're like, oh, but and we're friends. That's so cool. Like I can't wait to see you big, and then you know, it's always like you know, shout me out when you're on the big stage, backstage tickets. And it's nice to see that people recognize that like, you know, what I've been trying to do in the garage for so long has been working. And I'm excited for, you know, next week school starts and we'll actually have this music out because the first time I go back to school where we have stuff out and there's real traction. We have the music video out. It'll be nice to see what people think and you know what people think, don't think, and whatnot. But it's for me, it's exciting.
How about you guys, Cameron? Go ahead.
Um, I don't really know. I go to community college, so it's like a lot different. I don't think anybody really knows me, so um I mean I've talked to like some kids around my like campus, like we'll just start talking. I'll like mention I'm in a band. Like I've shown them like some of my songs a couple times. And they I've gotten good receptions from everybody. So I've literally had a random kid come up to me in the library. I was like playing the song out loud. He's like, I really like that. I was like, thank you, man. So yeah, I mean that's what it's like for me.
Maybe they just don't get it. Maybe they don't get like the history of you know
Yeah, they
what this
don't.
is all about.
They
And
don't.
that's what's funny. It's interesting, right? It's like, um, yeah, I'm old, especially compared to you guys. Like, but I also think like that's like those bands and a lot of classic rock. You know, Aerosmith just said they were retiring, but like bands like that who have like transcended like generations, like that music will always be like amazing, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, of course.
it's so cool how that can happen. And but it's weird when people don't are kind of like don't even like have an idea of what any of that is.
yeah. The only thing is I guess I have a problem. My friends say I yap too much. So, you know, I'll try if I ever want to talk to someone about it, you know, I've talked their head off by the time I even get to the point that like that's actually my song or something. So like, you know, that's probably one reason a lot of people don't even know like the backstory, like, hey, Alice in Chains and all that stuff. And we're in the studio where Mastodon is, because by the time that I've even got there, it's like the class is over.
Alice in Chains is so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
They're amazing.
I'll start going on a whole tangent about like every record and like, you know, this and that before I even get to the point. But I just have such a love for music. I could just talk about it forever.
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people probably have heard their stuff, but maybe they don't know that it was them, or they don't know the
Mhm.
song name. Like, I don't know. Such a great band.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Yeah. Great band. Amazing band.
I mean, how do you, I mean your friend groups and things like that? Like, you know, we have Spotify, and that wasn't around when I was your age. You know, we had LimeWire and Napster, and we infected our our family's home computer, the one that we had. Um, how do you guys view these streaming services, at your age? Because there could be a few different ways, right? There's the fact that you're young, it's how you consume media and probably find new music and things like that. But I just talked to a guy, his name's Jake, he's from a band, Autumn Kings from Detroit, and he had a really positive outlook for, Spotify and the streaming services where a lot of bands hate hate them. Kind of like, what are your thoughts and opinions on growing up with that kind of media and kind of having to use that as move forward? The big records deals that once existed aren't like that anymore. You just said yourself, you guys started a record label to kind of avoid that kind of stuff. So back to the question I had asked, and I'm sorry for kind of rambling here, but um, you know, what are your thoughts on Spotify and the streaming services and how you can, use that to your advantage?
So I think we all have, our own separate answers. So I'm pretty sure we do, the three of us each do use like a separate platform for music. So I use Spotify, and, growing up with it, it kind of has it has its benefits when you're using it, but not when you're an artist. Like growing up with it, it definitely made me where I am in the sense of, music, because I could just listen to music and music and music and just keep listening, find new music, the new top picks for today and the Spotify playlist they build for you and stuff like that. I've learned so much cool music through that. But then when as a musician, it's a little there's kind of that division with people where they get a more, infuriated with it because they feel like the return as an artist isn't there anymore, or it kind of lost the magic of selling records or getting that record deal where the big record exec comes into the, local bar and says like, hey, that's what I want. $2 million deal. And then, 4 records now. And
Yeah.
it kind of, people want that because they want to sell the records. But the truth is it's a different game now and it's a different animal. And all you can do is kind of just tame that animal now. And, it's not about records anymore. It's kind of just the streaming and the merch and touring. And, some people hate that, and they hate the fact that, they don't get so much for having their music somewhere like they used to compared to having a record out. But, I feel like it definitely has its goods and bads. And as like I said, as a musician, I like it because I like music. But I would definitely enjoy if it was more balanced, like it used to be, if it was more of a balance of streaming and records.
Right.
But it definitely has, its goods and bads, and everyone has their own opinion on it, but that's just my way I view it.
I want to get to Sebastian and Cameron and your thoughts on streaming service. Let's just do it real quick. Yeah, Sebastian, we'll start with you this time.
Yeah. For me, I would say it's honestly like that's obviously the main way that a lot of people our age and well, honestly in general, that people just find out new music. Like for me, like all the music I listen to now, like most of those bands I've discovered through, like YouTube or Spotify or even like podcasts that also cover different bands and whatever. So for me, I feel like starting off like by yourself, like for little small bands, it's like there could be ways to get exposed more easily in a way, but at the same time, like Ethan said, like with the whole, they with the whole selling records and getting a little bit more money, like that is a bit hard. But I feel like there's like a lot of bands that or artists that wouldn't be discovered if it weren't for social media and stuff like that, where they can promote themselves in a way instead of um hoping that a record label sees you or whatever, because if they don't see you, then obviously you're never gonna be seen back in the day like that. I mean, so it's a bit different, but obviously we weren't from that time, so I don't know exactly like like in detail for everything, but as in how I see it, that's just how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, you can go viral on TikTok,
Of course, yeah.
and who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, a lot of people have gone very viral on TikTok, and from like one song, like one clip of a song, and it makes your whole career. So, it's like a double-edged sword, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the internet's a powerful, powerful resource. I mean, we have the Hawk Tuah girl who is on every major podcast right now and selling merch, and and I mean, God love her. She just was hanging out and said the right thing at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Cameron, what do you think about the streaming services and how that kind of affects your future and how you kind of use it?
I think the streaming services is great if you're trying to find like new artists or if you're just trying to like listen to music. That's exactly what it's meant for. But honestly, I think if you're like an artist trying to get your music out there, I think it's going to be a lot harder if you don't promote it in the right way. Because if you're just releasing it out there, it's not going to go anywhere. You need to promote it. You need to do like all the right steps to get it somewhere so it can take off. But I kind of like what Sebi said, kind of double-edged sword. It kind of has its positives and its negatives to it.
Yeah. When you guys were recording this record, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Back in my day, I sound like an old person, right? I am old. But back in my day, like bands, they recorded albums, track 1 through, in this case, 8 or 1 through 12 or whatever it might be. But they recorded it and it was presented for people to listen from track 1 straight through to track 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we live in this age where, you release singles and it's kind of this waterfall thing and yada, yada, yada. How did you guys go about, recording these songs? Is it meant to listen from 1 through 8? Does it not matter? Did you guys even think about that when you were doing it?
Like I said earlier, the writing was so organic and so fluid that we didn't even think about songs kind of going into each other. And those are the types of things I love them. I love when I hear a song and then it goes right into the next song on the record. Because I listen to like records all the time, just song beginning to end. And I love that type of stuff. But when we wrote it, it was kind of just this song, and then we wrote the next song, we wrote the next song. That when we recorded everything, we realized, there's nothing that really goes into each other in that sense. But we definitely tried our best to have the order of songs kind of be a very fluid, going from an even distribution of like fast paced songs where the fast riffage and all that type of stuff to ones where it's kind of more laid back. And then, the ones we originally had 3 other songs that didn't make the cut, but, one of them was kind of meant to fill the place of a ballad almost. And, unfortunately we cut it, but we had the idea in mind, but now we kind of just figured what's going to be the best listening experience from song to song.
Well, that's the same. That's the same thing. I don't necessarily mean like it flowing from 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, but like being able to have this collection of songs where you can say like, yeah, like I want to start this off with this first track with this song because it's a nice entry into who we are as a band, and then like you said, kind of like track 2 and 3, maybe it kind of like ramps up and then you bring it back down. 5 and 6 kind of like mellow it out and then kind of finish strong. Like I didn't really necessarily mean like it flowing into one another, but like being able to kind of pick and choose and really place those songs strategically. And the reason I asked that too is because I host a local radio show in our area, and I kind of try and do that with the collection of songs that I play and kind of just be cognizant of that kind of that flow. So
yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah, you're doing it.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you mean. I'm the type of guy that if you ask me to, set up a queue for or a playlist for whatever on Spotify and whatnot, I'm sitting there like going through the queue, like what's the vibe gonna be like consistently and stuff like that.
Yeah.
and I definitely worked a lot with William to carry that over to the, list of how the songs were. And it was originally completely different, and he gave me some insight, like, let's put some certain ones here, and we should definitely start with this one. And one thing we didn't think about was the fact that there's going to be side A and side B on a record. So we should definitely think about that, and how it's an even amount of songs on each side. So things like that came into play, and I'm very happy with the way it is now. At first I was a little like iffy. I was like, well, I planned on having it this way for a long time, but now I see it exactly the vision, and it makes a lot of sense. And I think it'll make a lot of sense to everyone, and it'll be the best way you can really listen to the record.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for your future. That's
Yeah.
I think you're very you're humble. You kind of have these opportunities around you, and you're kind of like taking advantage of them in the right way. And I shouldn't say that's the wrong form. Taking advantage of, like, well, I guess it works too. It doesn't, like, kind of tends to have a negative
Yeah.
connotation to it. But like, no, it's like, okay, like this is here for me, and I'm going to take these right steps and kind of move forward. And that's awesome. Like, you guys seem like a couple or a bunch of good kids, and it's good to see.
Yeah. Thank you. I definitely appreciate those words.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
What
Yep, thank you.
one last question, and I'll let you guys go, because I try and figure it out, and I can't. And you try and connect with a younger audience and things like that. What do you guys do for fun? Like, what are you guys into? Like, outside of music and going to school, like, what are you guys doing? What do kids do these days?
I like to go mountain bike riding. I'm getting back into that. There's like a trail like 10 minutes away from here, and that's good and kind of keep me active for like an hour. It's like fun. I do that with my dad, so it's something father
Nice.
and son bonding experience.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like I could say we're all pretty big gamers too. We're definitely gamers, and you know, we we all sometimes we try to play games together, and sometimes we do it. For me, what I try and do for fun, like I said, games, but a lot of other things. Like, I try and do a lot of sports. I'm a big soccer person, and I train all the time with my little brother. I'm here in Costa Rica. I was surfing for the past 4 hours before I got on this call, just sitting out there on the ocean, and trying to catch some waves. I'm not the best, but I was sitting out there for a while, kind of just trying to get as much as I can. I find stuff like that fun. I try to keep myself active, but I feel like we all also do very similar things. Like, we're big into basketball together. Sometimes we play on my hoop outside, or we also kind of all watch shows together. That's a big thing that we all do. And I feel like a lot of people now too, because it's so accessible on YouTube, is like live sets and just like stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah. For me, video games is a big one for me. Even though I've kind of been getting tired of it because, like, it's summer and you're in your house a lot of time. Like, some people make it seem like summer you're always doing stuff, but, like, most of the time you're at your house. So I'm just like playing video games. I know I'm getting a little bit tired, but I've been starting to watch a bunch of like TV shows, like some like old like cartoons. So like maybe like Batman the animated series, or like X-Men from like I think it's from the 90s. So like that's something I've been into. And I know you said not music, but like for me, a big thing is seeing like a bunch of live sets of like new bands, or especially like in the hardcore scene. So like, for example, like before I joined this call, I was watching a God's Hate set from Sound and Fury. So like stuff like that. That's I would say that's what I do on my free time. I also like playing basketball with my friends. Sometimes I play basketball with them. So yeah.
Nice. I just never know what's like cool anymore. Like I
I
said,
mean, everything's cool.
yeah, I'm an old man though. Like, I'm so like consumed by like work and like what my son's doing. He's only 6, so it's like he's still like kind of like just kind of entering into like he's been doing baseball for a few years and basketball for a few years too, but like nothing crazy yet. But it's starting to get busy, and it's just that's where I'm at, and so I kind of lose touch sometimes. So I kind of try and keep my finger on the pulse of what the young crowd's doing.
Yeah, I mean I think everything's cool once you try it. Like I wasn't really big into surfing until I got here in Costa Rica, and I've been surfing almost every day now.
Is it your
And
first time?
yeah, it's like my third time surfing out here, but I've been sitting here for the past couple of days, kind of just surfing for hours, just trying to get the ropes. And now I've got the hang of it, and now I'm actually able to catch my own waves and stuff like that. But they get big here, so that's a thing that's keeping me wanting to stay there. And like I don't want same thing like when we play basketball, you can't end on or you gotta end on a make.
Hell yeah.
So for me, like I'm not leaving until I get like a big wave. And I'm a big guy, and like you don't know until you try it.
Yeah.
So to me, things like that, just like everything's cool once you tried it, and some things aren't cool, but like if you don't like it. But in general, everything's cool because someone likes everything. You know what I mean? There's someone for something and stuff like that. So I try to keep an open mind.
Yeah, I'm a big yes guy. I wish I was more of a yes guy when I was younger, because you have more time and more opportunities when you're younger.
Of course.
I have less time now to say yes to a lot of things, just because of time and family obligations and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where you never know. Like if you say yes to something, you never know where that might take you. There's so many like things that can happen just by saying yes to something, and it's like it just kind of snowballs. So
I mean, perfect example I can give is this. I mean, it all started with saying yes to, one of the members that isn't in the band anymore, but he asked me like, "Hey, you want to start jamming?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And now we're here, and that's one thing that's definitely made me say yes to a lot of things and trying a lot of things, because I mean, I'm definitely happy where I'm at. So
hell yeah.
if I can get that same reaction with other things, it's amazing.
You never know. I'm a big guy. I say it only takes one. It only takes one person to, hear your album that passes it along to somebody else, or, it just takes one person to, maybe, I don't know, anything. It just takes one. It's
Mhm.
so I think you guys have a very bright future. I think you guys have a great mindset, moving forward. So the album coming out August 23rd, is titled Blindside, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Chain Saint, Blindside, August 23rd. Where can people, if they watch this episode or listen to this episode this far in, where can people find you online?
For the music, we're everywhere. I'm pretty sure, like really like 99% of places beside I think SoundCloud, which we gotta, get up on there. But for the main places we're active is Instagram. Chain Saint Official on Instagram. That's where you'll find all of our news and updates on things. We're very active on there. We're on other places like YouTube with the video, and try to be on TikTok and stuff like that. But definitely Instagram is our strong suit.
Is that your go-to at your age? Is that your go-to is IG?
Yeah, I guess yeah, because it's just easier to kind of be more active on there, and also kind of get all that stuff on there.
Is like Facebook, like do you hear that and you're like, oh, it's so old, it's for old people?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, to be completely honest.
Oh God, you guys are killing me. Oh, ouch.
I think it's just because like our parents be using Facebook, so like
Yeah,
that's
okay,
the
yeah.
only reason why
Alright,
though.
alright.
Because if I don't think like Twitter or anything like that, but I think it's just because of that, because parents and relatives just be using it.
I'm probably your
Yeah.
parents' age. That sucks.
Yeah, I mean, we have a Facebook account, but I mean, the only person that I've heard that like actually follows it is my grandma. So I feel like that kind of says why we don't post on Facebook much.
Oh, oh.
No hate
Man.
though. No hate to Facebook.
Nah, I know.
No
I
hate to
know.
Facebook.
I mean, I started off with like, we had MySpace.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then Facebook kind of took over in like 09 ish. It's kind of like when that kind of like picked up. So I just been building a following like primarily on Facebook for a long time, and then obviously I've transitioned over to the other platforms. But TikTok, forget it. I don't even know how to attempt to be. I think that it's such a funny place. Like that's when I used to go on it. I would just watch funny videos. I'm not
Yeah.
funny, so it's like for me to try and create something funny is like not going to happen. But yeah, Facebook, ouch, it hurts.
We tried TikTok. It like you said, yeah, it's a place for like it's a lot more unserious type of stuff.
Yeah,
It's kind of embarrassing. Only the day ones have seen our original TikToks. They were there was something else.
Okay.
They were
Pretty cringy.
Yeah, they were pretty cringy, to say the least. But we tried. It's definitely not the type of platform for what we try to put out.
For a
But
metal band, yes, I wouldn't imagine.
yeah,
Yeah, it don't work.
yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, thank you very much. I want Ethan to get back to Costa Rica instead of talking to some idiot from Scranton.
No, I love it. Honestly, I love talking on these interviews. So
Yeah. Well, again, guys, best of luck to you. You seem like good kids, and I wish the best for you.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So hopefully I'll see your name in the big lights one day.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And I
man.
can say, like, I interviewed those kids
yeah,
back in my day.
We'll forget it. We won't forget it if it happens.
yeah. We won't. We won't.
Yeah, when this comes out, I'll tag you guys in it and all that kind of stuff. So it'll probably be out actually this Friday. Today's Tuesday, the 6th, probably be out Friday the 9th, 10th, 9th.
9th,
So
I think. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
a little ahead of the release, but again, best of luck with that. Get back to the Florida weather, get back to Costa Rica, enjoy yourselves, and like I said, best of luck with everything.
Yeah.
Great,
Thank
man.
you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
having
much
us
for
on.
having us.
Chain Saint, thanks.
Thank
We'll see you.
Thank you.